All right, boys, welcome back to another episode of Fake Nerds Watch. This time is for The Boys. We're going to be doing season 3 of The Boys. We're doing the first 4 episodes of this show. There's a lot of shows coming out, so we're parsing them out as we can. So we're halfway through The Boys. 3 episodes dropped one week. 1 episode dropped another week. It's a hell of a show. Let's get into it. What do we think?
Who are you?
Oh shit! I'm Brandon T. McClure. This is why I don't intro anymore. I'm Brandon T. McClure. With me, as always, is Sparks Whitty.
Yes, I am.
Ryan Eliopoulos.
Diabolical.
And Ben Magnet is not here. He was going to join, but circumstances have prevented his attendance, and our hearts go out to him. He's going through a rough time and a much-needed break.
Yeah. I'll watch that show.
I was going to jump on what you said, Brandon, and say that part of this was, yes, there's a bunch of shows right now, but we also we did The Boys, both the previous seasons we've done of The Boys, we've done just one season wrap-ups, and we're always like, man, it's just not enough time. It's not enough time to talk about how much shit happens in The Boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, we needed to cut it up, and I'm glad we did, because I'm like, there's already so much I want to talk about.
There's already so much that has happened.
Yeah.
In these 4 episodes.
Yeah. I felt this way before, but now that we are halfway through season 3, I think you guys will agree with me that this is one of the best comic book shows ever made.
100%.
Yeah.
Like I felt it, but season 3, like episode 1 starts so strong and then it continues. And all 4 of these episodes, I love. I was gonna have a concern after watching Stranger Things. I was like, oh no, are we gonna do a Stranger Things thing in this show where they go to Russia and stuff? They do, but it's not. They split up the team. We're half and half. It's none of that. I'm like. My worry was immediately quenched in the next episode, or quashed in the next episode. I'm just having such a good time.
I think the show knows, the showrunners know, Eric Kripke knows, that the benefit of the show is having the boys together. Mm-hmm. They all need to be together. It's not like they're adding cast members. It's just these characters that are just constantly going through their adventures and things like that. But like when you have a show that just works so well, then the thing that I really like about this season so far is that it's entirely unpredictable.
Sure.
And that works because Homelander is unpredictable now. You have no idea what that man's going to do next. And so you never know what the show is going to do next.
Mm-hmm. That and also a willingness to like really divert away from the source material as much as is necessary to embrace what they've decided to do with the show.
Yeah.
Because they've made choices with these characters and with this world that they understand are better for what they're doing than trying to recreate what was in the book. I mean, a strong example is Black Noir, who we now know what he looks like under the mask, is not a clone of Homelander as he is in the comics.
Yeah.
He's a dude.
Did you guys watch the Diabolical episode that leads into the season?
I haven't watched any of the Diabolicals. I might now, because now I'm in the mood, but...
So I just watched the final episode of Diabolical. I'm gonna go back, but because it's anthology, I figured that I could just watch the one that leads into the season. And it's a Homelander origin episode. It's about his first day on the 7.
Right. This is the one we talked about where Kripke said this is canon, and then they said that like 3 other episodes are also canon.
Yeah, but I just watched
now canon.
I just watched that one. It's very good. It's all the voice actors are all the characters, are all the actors from the show. Elizabeth Shue comes back to do her voice. And it's about Homelander's first mission, and he thinks that Black Noir, who is the leader of the 7 at the time, is trying to like out him, is trying to like kill him. It's really great insight into Homelander's mind, even going back so far as this, and it really contextualized basically his birthday speech in a very nice way. I highly recommend if you guys could.
I will. I have heard better things. Because I know we were all lukewarm about watching that show, but I've heard actually pretty good things about it now that it's out.
I'll probably watch it before we're back for the second half of the season.
Yeah, the thing that I love, because again, like I've read almost all of the entire comic, and I do agree the show is considerably better. But I think there are elements of that comic that are good. The thing that I really like about the show is that it's still taking elements from the comic, like Full Sail, but just doing it differently. Like the Dakota Bob stuff. Like in the comics, that guy's already president, and he is a shill, and he works for Homelander, and he's like a stupid guy. And I love that they're starting with like this guy running for president. And you could slowly see how he slowly will get manipulated and turned by the superheroes, because he's a good guy with good intentions, but like he's maybe not the smartest guy in the block. And Homelander just knows how to manipulate everybody.
Since you brought attention to him, I don't think we'd ever gotten his full name before this season. He's Robert Singer, so he has the same name as Bobby Singer from the character he plays in Supernatural.
Oh, that's
funny. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Which is also the name of one of the producers from Supernatural, who's one of Kripke's friends. So that's why the character has that name. But I was like, they gave him the same goddamn name, and it is that actor. That's
one of the things that I really love about this season so far is like the escalation is ramping up, and I don't know how long they plan to run this show for. Like, I would love it to run forever as long as the quality's good. But like the way they're ramping up, I can see this ending in a couple seasons with like full out war.
No, knowing Kripke, I suspect we're looking at another 5-season plan, which is what he went into Supernatural with. He had his 5-season plan and then he bailed.
Yeah, that's what this specifically, like with the like character deaths and like character turnings and stuff. And it's like, it feels like not Endgame, but it's like, oh, we're approaching a big story thing happening soon, which is really exciting. And like, I felt tense this entire season.
Yeah,
for characters, man.
No, I'm really glad you brought that up, because like I'm sitting at. I know we felt this way before in previous seasons, where like, how can they like how can this not come to a head, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to imagine now that Homelander's laid down the gauntlet of go ahead, light the candle. I would prefer to be loved, but I'll just burn everything down if you expose me. And that's where he's at now. I don't know how you keep Homelander on some kind of like barrier from this point forward, and they don't have to immediately deal with him in conflict,
because the match is lit at this point.
So I'm intrigued on how they might be able to push that into another season past that, potentially.
I would be surprised if we're not. So it was just renewed for season 4. We heard that like this week.
Woo.
I would be surprised if it wasn't a 4-season plan. Like, quite honestly, because like I'm wondering, and like I trust the writers. Obviously, like I'm in for the ride. They've done nothing wrong in my mind. Every episode is great. Yeah. So like I'm just curious, like now that Homelander is here, how the next step isn't everyone against Homelander.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling to see right now too. The answer might be in the arrival from the very last episode of what we're talking about, Soldier Boy. Yeah. That might be it. We'll get into that, but it is a little hard for me to see like how do you keep Homelander as the antagonist going all the way up through season 5? How do you do that? It's possible, but and I'm not worried about the show, because Eric Kripke is a person who knows when he's done. Like when the story is done, he knows. Like he didn't hem and haw and like try and drag himself out for more Supernatural, even though they wanted him to. He said, no, my story was done at season 5 and I'm leaving. Goodbye. And so I trust that he'll know when The Boys is done. The Boys is done.
Yeah. Do you remember when Kripke was developing a Dead Man series for Sci-Fi?
Yes.
I'm so bummed that never happened.
And nobody watched it, but his show Timeless, I saw the first season, was pretty good.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a NBC time travel investigation, like X-Files style show.
Oh, wasn't it with there's the guy in this show who's like
the no dick guy,
the writer guy.
Yeah, he was in that, right?
Yes, he was. Yeah. So I trust that, like we're gonna be satisfied by the end. I'm just very intrigued. I'm like, how do you put Homelander back in the bottle at this point?
It's almost exciting. Like, like how do you do it?
Because that was the thing, is like once he said that to Starlight, I was like, well, this is it. Like he's laid it down. He's like, it's either my way or it's no way. There is no workaround now.
Yeah. Specifically in episode 4. I know we're bouncing around, but we're talking about the whole thing as a whole. Like in episode 4, when Homelander kills Supersonic.
Oh man. My boy.
One of the most impactful deaths, like even an off-screen death, but like that is like Homelander is done fucking around with y'all. For real. For real.
I was quite honestly in shock because I was
Yes, so was I.
there's no way that could be supersonic.
Yeah.
So,
But supersonic, Sparks.
I do. Okay, so Miles Gaston Villanueva, who plays the new character Supersonic, is a friend of mine, and so I, unfortunately, because I'm friends with him, was tipped a little to the fact that he was probably dying in this episode because I saw him people sharing tweets about him who had already seen the episode before I had and saying like, you deserve better and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, shit, he's dead.
But the way he dies is like when they said in like the beginning of the season, before the season started, they were like, by episode 3, we already ran out of blood and guts. And I'm like, I see why.
I feel a little, just small thing aside for my friend, I feel a little bad for Miles. I'm sure I think he's happier with this whole situation based on everything he's told me, but this same thing was done to him on the Nancy Drew show on CW. He was on that show and his character was unceremoniously killed off screen.
Really?
And like left as a dead body in a bathtub. Like midway through a character arc. And I know he had like disgruntled feelings about that one, but but then coming here and him once again like being a body somewhere, I mean, I'm like, oh my boy.
That is unfortunate, but like it just goes to show.
No, but it's great for the character.
Yeah, how good of an actor he is too. Like I really did care that this character who just showed up a couple episodes ago and like killed off screen. Yeah. Like that was maybe like one of the most impactful deaths in this whole show. Like he was such a good guy, and the stuff with Starlight was so good.
Yeah. I knew from the moment he told A-Train, I was like, oh no, he told the wrong guy.
I believe because the A-Train arc in this season is so good. It's the deep arc from the last season where one of these characters is getting like, oh, maybe I should be a better person. But no, A-Train, you had to tattle because Homelander will kill all y'all in a second. Like I get it. It's terrifying.
I'm writing down notes because like it just reminded me of something that the Deep does in this show.
I have some notes. But like
guilt punch.
Yeah, I believed. I thought I even wrote down the note at the time. I'm like, oh man, A-Train and supersonic bonding. I'm so happy about it.
Ready.
Nah.
Because you want A-Train to, because A-Train wants to like rebrand as like this kind of, he does the Kardashian commercial with the Pepsi.
Oh, the Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial.
Yeah, the Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial.
Oh man.
For a brief moment, I didn't know what they were doing. And so I thought he was like setting up for the shoot and a real protest was happening for a second. And like A-Train was going to go try and like actually like make himself stand out by being part of it without like, I thought the way they were going to go is like him not understanding why he should be there and not understanding what it's for. And like, that was going to be a bad look for him. And I thought that's the way they were going. And then I quickly caught on, oh shit, they're doing Pepsi.
It helps that like the girl that he's talking to before looks exactly like Kendall Jenner. And I'm like, wow, they really got someone to look just like her. That's really funny. This is important, Pepsi.
The whole thing of like A-Train wanting to be like this social justice warrior. He wants to like be this champion, and the way he but I always knew, and no matter what, he believes in Homelander.
Yeah.
Like he wants Homelander, like the Deep and A-Team want Homelander on their side. They don't understand that Homelander is psychotic.
I mean, I think they do, but they also realize.
I definitely think the Deep does after what happens to him. Like they know he's psychotic. They just cannot. They cannot see the reality is, honestly, they're both cowards.
Yeah,
sure.
That's what it is. They're both cowards. They are not. They recognize he's an asshole, but they will kowtow to the biggest bully. They are not ones to stand up. And I thought maybe A-Train might be now, but he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he might towards the end. He might show some humility.
Sure, I hope he does. But like after the supersonic thing, I'm like, man, that might have just been too much for me, A-Train. Sorry, bro.
Because I'm curious if the end of A-Train's arc has him run again, like his heart explodes.
Absolutely.
And it does he like does it altruistically, you know? And like the fight with Homelander. I'm curious if that's going to be the way it goes. I do think no matter what, the season ends with his heart exploding.
I do feel that way too, and I think it would even be more. I want him to be good, but I also think it would be really funny if in that final battle he is with Homelander and goes to attack a hero and he dies before even the attack happens because of his heart.
Right.
And Homelander's like, "You weakling." Like that would be so sad for that character, but he did it to himself.
Right.
Like, tragedy.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to see the path to redemption for A-Train at this moment now. I think like it was looking like it could be there, and now it's like, man, I just don't see it.
Sure.
I just don't know that he can come back.
Adds like real complexity, because like people are complex, and like making a decision like this, and like you challenge God himself. It's like it's a tough call, man. It's a tough call. I get it.
Yeah.
The beginning of the season has more makes the joke Charlize Theron is adding
about to bring her up, yeah.
Infinity Stones franchises to her gauntlet because she has a cameo in this.
She has a great line, Esther, but she's like, you had my heart, but the Third Reich has my soul.
No, the Fourth Reich.
The Fourth Reich
has my soul.
That made me laugh so hard.
The thing I really wanted to know is, I'm like, okay, is Charlize Theron like actually Charlize Theron here? Yeah. Like, is she an actress? Because usually they're using the supers to use their superpowers, but obviously she's trying to imitate Stormfront. I'm like, is she just an actor and they're having to like curb down their powers? I just wish we knew.
My headcanon, it's Charlize Theron.
Yeah, that's my headcanon too. I'm like, like they got her in, and she's playing as an actor with all these superheroes.
Yeah.
That's how they make so much money with so little put into the productions, because they have actual superheroes in their movies.
Yeah.
The whole Dawn of the Seven, very funny.
Uh-huh.
A-Train running in. What, you think you did do this without me?
The Bork cut.
The Bork cut. Oh man, that Ashley.
Yes,
that girl.
So good. Like, she's been good this whole season, but she has a way of being just the worst, but I love it so much.
Yeah. Last season she was like stress pulling her hair out and nervous and grossed out about it, and now it's her kink.
Yeah, now she can do it.
Boy, that girl, like you see her, you see how, like, what's so interesting about the character is it's kind of a case study on how abuse creates abusive people.
Yes, 100%.
Because she's abused by everyone around her. She was abused by Elizabeth Shue. She's abused by Homelander. And she like, we see it very blatantly in the 4th episode when she repeats Homelander's line.
Mm-hmm. To the Vought Tucker Carlson, which I'm really glad that he got to make the jump from the YouTube videos over to being in the main show as the Vought Tucker Carlson that he is.
Good for him.
Carson Coleman, whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh, their little thing when it's just like, I'm going to punish you, pulls out the giant. By the way, every single hero has a dildo inspired by them.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't they? It's funny.
I'm just saying, if you go to a sex store now, like, they got anything you want.
I think I want the Doctor Doom dildo now.
Michael Moore's head is just the tip of one.
I think that in a year where Everything Everywhere All at Once hadn't happened to us, the fighting with the dildos would have stood out far more.
Yeah.
But Everything Everywhere All at Once definitely like rocked that beyond. So it was not quite the hilarity that they probably envisioned when they did it.
What a year for dildo cinema. For real.
What a year for fighting with dildos.
Yeah. We got to talk about the
Blood and Dildos could be our new show.
We got to talk about the initial episode 1 explosion. Going inside the man's pee and exploding.
Oh yes. Uh-huh.
Bro,
when I tell you,
like, talk about starting a season saying like, we'll do anything.
When I tell you that this show has made me uncomfortable far more often than the last 2 seasons combined, I am referring to that and one other moment.
There's just, and it doesn't happen often, because I'm very strong when it comes to like gore, sensitivity, that kind of stuff. But when there's a dude walking inside of a penis and he's touching the sides, and the dude is loud moaning and he's like, yeah, I was like, this did something to me. That's impressive.
It just gets to the point, like, how can the boys keep shocking you? And it was just like, as soon as that guy goes in there, I'm like, he's gonna sneeze and blow him up.
Yeah.
He's gonna sneeze and blow him up.
Now, I just watched an interview with Jensen Ackles, and Colbert asked him, like, what's the craziest thing he had to do on the set? And he said he had to do the most insane sex positions he's ever done in his life multiple times. So Herogasm is definitely actually happening.
Episode 6 is titled Herogasm.
I didn't know that. That's Jesus. It's about to get disgusting. Oh, this truly might be the most filthy thing that's ever been on like a publication. Like,
I'm glad
Oh,
they
boy.
renewed it. I'm glad they renewed it now, because if they renewed it after Herogasm, we might be having a different conversation.
Man, I never thought I'd be so excited for a gore orgy before, but here we are. Man, like it's nothing is like The Boys. Like there are other things that are violent and grotesque, but there's just something like the way it's all character based. Like it all feels so like real to the characters, how violent they are. Like Butcher is so good this season. I mean, everyone's good this season. Like, but Butcher just like crossing the line, like, oh, there is no line. Like, bro, I'm so excited for Huey. Oh man.
Butcher is really good this season, because there's a lot of times where Butcher actually shows his humanity to Huey specifically. Like he like calls Huey one episode to like apologize to him, just be like, "Hey, how you doing? I had a rough day. I want to talk to you." And that was that's when he's like, "You were right about Vought. Everything is rigged. We got to do it your way." And like that changes things. But like he initially, Butcher called Huey to be like, "Hey man, how you doing?
I miss you."
And I'm sorry, and you're right. Like things are good. We're in peacetime. Things are going right, and then it's like, no, things are still the same.
That's right. There's a year time jump. Yeah. Huey is leading the boys like through the CIA, like officially through Victoria Newman. Like it's all by the books now. And they're arresting C-listers and B-listers because they can't arrest the A-listers because they're Vought. And that's where the spice comes in, and where Huey's like, "This is annoying. What, Termite? Give me a break."
Well, it's like they can't even get Termite. That's the thing. They have to settle for 2-3 other C-listers because they can't get B-lister Termite because he got too high on the cocaine during the grab. And that's what's so frustrating, is they can't even get the B-lister Termite, who they know like exploded in a man.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I really like how we come to the boys. I think it's really cool that we see, like, you know, Frenchie, Kimiko, and Butcher are working for Huey. MM has left. He wants to be with his daughter, wants to kind of be okay. And Huey is just living the life of Riley. Like, he loves his life. He's got this great job. He's got this great girl. He's going to the premiere of Dawn of the Seven with his girlfriend. That was, I really like how we start the season, and then it just quickly, like I said, each episode is paced so well. There is so much plot that happens in every single episode of this show. It was honestly, the fact that they dropped 3 at a time was honestly a little overwhelming with how much plot that show just keeps on going. Every episode, every second is not wasted time.
It's not like hour long, but with commercials like on TV. Like these are like almost hour long episodes.
These are hour long episodes.
And that's like, again, like they're not skimping on material. It's like dense the entire way through. Like there's a lot of material to chew through.
Yeah, and it's all so well paced through. You never feel like you've wasted any moment, and it's all, like I said, all of it's unpredictable. Every single time you think it's going to go one way, it goes the other way. It's an incredible show, just all over.
Oh yeah, so the plot of this show, of this season so far, is they want to kill Homelander, but there's no easy way to do it. So they hear about this weapon that's in Russia. There was a battle.
Supposedly it killed Soldier Boy, who is almost as strong as Homelander.
Yeah. Turns out maybe Soldier Boy just got kidnapped and wasn't killed. He got Winter Soldier.
Since we're talking about that moment, like, it's a little hard for me to buy that, like, Grace Mallory believes that a weapon killed Soldier Boy, and that they didn't, like, when after Crimson Countess like tells her like they killed him and they took his body, that she's not just like, no, I think they just kidnapped him.
Yeah.
I'm like, Grace just seems smarter than that, and I'm like, the fact that they specifically took his body, like, I would at least tell Billy, like, I'm not 100% positive that a weapon killed Soldier Boy.
That's fair. I think it might be also like enough time has passed, and it's like it's old, like top secret stuff. So it's like she might not even believe or care anymore about it.
She was also knocked out for the end of the battle.
That's true.
So she woke up after quote unquote Soldier Boy died.
Right. That's what I mean. Is it's suspicious the way that it's told to her.
Yeah.
Because
maybe she's in on it.
Because even in the moment, like, she doesn't believe it, and then she's saying, because Crimson Countess says, like, they took his body, and I'm like, girl, you gotta, like, ask a couple questions about that one. Like, that's weird.
I'll give you that. Sure.
I want to bounce off of that, but talk about. Go ahead.
just to finish that off, more importantly, I just think like I would have expected Grace to at least say with Billy going looking for the weapon, like, I'm not 100% that there's a weapon. They took his body and that was weird.
That's fair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just bounce off what you were going to say, though. I want to talk about the flashback.
Yeah.
Because I think the flashback is so well cast.
The guy, young Stan.
The guy who plays Stan in that is so good.
Yeah.
And the girl who plays Grace is actually an actress I'm familiar with. She was in Anna and the Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
She's the American girl in Anna and the Apocalypse, if you remember. And I almost didn't recognize her because that's been many years. But like she looked just like the Grace, the older Grace. And I thought just what very good casting.
Excellent casting. Oh yeah. Soldier Boy, the little we've gotten of him is so fun. Guys, that song that they released, his cover of Blondie's Rapture is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because I forgot those are the real lyrics to the song. And if you watch that clip, the whole thing, the song's about a man from Mars bit him in the head, then he ate some cars, and he continued to eat cars, and he turned into a boat, and he went on the ocean. And it's just like nonsense, but Soldier Boy singing it like Dewey Cox did. Yeah. I was losing my shit, dude. Jensen Ackles is like, I can't wait to him to just be in the show.
You brought up Dewey Cox, so we gotta talk about you don't want none of this shit, Huey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I felt it.
Dewey all but said it. He said the whole thing. You don't want any part of this shit.
Do you think Butcher just gave it to him and he's lying to everyone else? Because the look he gave.
No, I think Huey did take it.
He's disappointed. Butcher's disappointed in Huey. That's at least the read that I have.
I think he truly felt what he said, which is like, it's not power, Huey, it's punishment.
Yeah.
I believe that. Okay. I just wasn't sure, because like after he said that he gave the look to Huey, I wasn't sure if that was I'm keeping this between us or I'm disappointed. So I just wanted to gauge.
Well, this is like part of the whole thing. This has always been like the relationship of the boys, is that Huey is a moral North Star, and they all see him that way. And so he's the one who's not supposed to compromise. And he's done it before. Like when he's done shady shit behind their backs before in previous seasons, they've been like, Huey, it really hurts when you do this because like we expect you to be better than us. And whether or not that's fair to put on Huey, that is what they do. And so that's why when you get to the point where he has the power and Marvin looks at him and he's like, he's upset that Butcher did it, but he's way more upset that Huey did. He's like, you're better than this. Like, I get this from Butcher, but you're better than this.
Kimiko just goes,
shake
her head. I'm like, oh, that's so sad.
They all hold him to a higher standard. And I think also there's an amount where like you could argue that it's also that they get concerned that his exposure to them makes him like this. And they like him better as he is. And making him like more like them isn't what they want.
Yeah, they all really like Huey, especially Butcher. But there's also a thing that I think Huey doing what he did with the powers, and then Kimiko getting, she might die. When Butcher and MM are talking, and Butcher says to him, is like, you're here because you can keep them together, and I can be an asshole. You know, there's that kind of moment they have between them, and MM says, there's no team to keep together anymore. We're done. This is it. And I think that's the double header of Huey doing the powers and then Kimiko getting hurt. Like MM is like, Butcher, this is unrepairable. We're screwed.
Well, and even then, like unbeknownst to MM at the time, Kimiko and Frenchie were both prepared to leave.
Yeah.
Like this was their last mission as far as they were concerned. And it's because of how Billy treats them.
Man, poor Kimiko, the thing in this season is like, I don't want to be a monster. And Butcher's like, you're a monster, be a monster. That's awful. And like, you just see like the sadness in her eyes. Like when she's confronting those girls who she saved.
I'm not your gun. Yes, you are.
I'm not your gun.
Butcher has never had a good relationship with Kimiko. Like he's always treated her as a soup. Yeah. This has always been a problem with them. I think this might be the season where that has to change. That dynamic has to shift if they're going to continue being a team.
I absolutely think it will, because now that Butcher knows what it's like to have powers and she lives with that every day. Like he's going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this every day. You have to control yourself. You have to hide this. Like I understand what I've done to you now. I hope that happens.
Could be. I don't know if it'll be as as nice as that, but I think
Well,
that
you
there
know what
might
I
be
mean.
some,
Like in his
yeah,
way.
there will be some like Carl Urban, Billy Butcher style understanding.
Yeah.
Also, we cannot remove the possibility that this show could just kill Kimiko.
I don't think they would do it simply because she's the only girl.
I mean, I
I'll put it
agree.
this-
I
I'll put it-
agree.
I'll-
But
I'll
I
put it
don't.
this
But like
way.
I was just saying, real quick, Spark. Like I've been saying, like again, the show is very unpredictable right now. It can go either way, and I think it is a real possibility. Whether or not it's a high one, I think it's a real possibility that Kimiko doesn't make it out of the season.
I think if they were going to kill her, they would have killed her rather than leave it in limbo at the end of the episode.
Sure.
I think if they were going to kill her, they'd just flat out kill her.
Yeah.
There's the fake out in the beginning of this episode, of the 4th episode, when she gets shot, and I definitely thought that was it too. I was like, oh shit. So I just want to prepare myself for the,
I get
potential that it could happen.
It is definitely like one of those shows, like again, like a Stranger Things, where like we're at the point now, like we're so many seasons in, a main character could die. I think right now isn't the moment. Maybe the end of the season.
I think also in reality, like being sincere about the characters, there is no way that the boys ever be the boys if Kimiko dies here.
Yeah.
None of those characters will work together again if that happens.
That's true.
They will all blame each other for what happened.
True. A fun little comic thing, the same way that Huey kills someone in The Boys the first time, it's the same way he kills someone in this. He punches him through the stomach. Because in the comic, he just goes to punch him, goes straight through. Huey nakedly teleports and punches someone. Cool combination of powers. He loves it. He's having a great time. And I really like the scene where he's talking to Butcher. He's like, Butcher, I'm a loser. And every time I try to do something, my girlfriend saves me or you save me. Like, I am worthless and I'm tired of feeling this way. So like him having power for once is really nice and it's good for him. But again, like, what is it going to cost you in the end? Boy, don't
right. And it goes back to like when Homelander is talking to Huey and he like signs his cast and things, and Huey like stands up to him. He can't do anything, and so you see it in his eyes when Homelander leaves, because Starlight said something. Starlight is the only threat in the room to Homelander, not really, but like, she's the only other super. So it's you see that it's been wearing on Huey a lot more now that Homelander is being far more aggressive towards him.
This is good writing, but this is in general like the problem with Huey is that Huey feels inadequate in all his aspects. I mean, like he gets jealous of Supersonic when he shouldn't, and even Starlight's like, "This is not a good look on you." It's just unnecessary. He even gets upset about like seeing footage and like of her and Homelander having to pretend to be a couple on the thing to a level where he has to turn the TV off. And I'm like, I know it's not fun to see that, but like his uncomfortability, his jealousy, his feeling of being lesser is so pervasive for him that even though he has like the moral compass of being a good person, he is the kind of person you don't want to get the super soldier serum, right? By Captain America standards. Like he wants power to exact power upon others the way it's been exacted upon him, not necessarily to always do the altruistic thing.
I think that's the arc.
Right.
Yeah.
And I that's why I'm saying like it's good writing, but it's the shitty thing about Huey's character, and something that they are bringing to the forefront is that he feels, I mean, like the jar thing, he gets so upset at the jar, he like cuts his own hand open.
Yeah.
He feels so shitty that way.
I think you're absolutely right. But I do want to say that I think there's more to it when it comes to like the Homelander stuff, because it's specifically Homelander's doing it to get at Huey. Like he doesn't give it, like he knows that Homelander is doing it because it's going to affect Huey in this way.
Right. But it's more of a like it is that building thing of him just like he puts himself lesser than others in his own mind. And in doing so puts himself in this position where like once he has power, he's not going to be the best person with it, because he wants to be able to put power over others the way that Homelander has. He wants to put power over other people to know that he's better than them.
Yeah, and now that he's tasted it, I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Which again is going to be like the fun arc of like the boys having to not fight Huey, but like Huey, you're going to need an intervention, maybe a superhero intervention.
Well, that's the thing about like the temporary V that they're talking about, which is that like in the trailers, and even like when Butcher is like wrapping his arm for the second dose, like it's all heroin imagery. Like it's meant to invoke in the audience that this is an addictive thing that is going to be that's a problem that's going to like negatively affect our characters, not be a positive.
Absolutely. We got oh, and Sparks, anything?
Yeah, I was gonna take us backwards because we're very like episode 4 focused. It's the most recent one. It makes sense. I was going to take us back to talk about like some of the stuff that's going on with Homelander in the beginning, the way that the public and Vought is making him talk about Stormfront, and how that's crippling him mentally. And then I did not expect to see Aya Cash again.
Yeah,
that was wild. That she's been in that state for a year.
When the whole thing of like when she first shows up and it's like she's still like you're supposed to be the perfect race, like she's jerking him off and she's just like trying to be like you're perfect.
You're supposed to bring in the master race.
Yeah, and
like you will bring in the master race, and he's like, I am the master race.
And he's still not like he's a bad person, but he's still not a Nazi. So he's still like we're not. No, stop! Like you've ruined it. You've ruined it. I'm not a Nazi.
And that breaks her heart so much she eats her own tongue to die.
That is the whole scene of like I've written this down, like his like artificially manufactured birthday celebration. That when he's like, you're my birthday save, why don't you come down, blah 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 blah. And then he sees that Stormfront had killed herself. And then he forces that girl to kill herself.
Yes. Importantly, after he said, just blink if you want to wish me a happy birthday. And she would not.
Yeah.
Just like, holy God.
The suicide save thing is such a dark twist on like All-Star Superman, where Superman saves a girl from killing herself. And like having like, because he's like, you know what? No, you don't deserve to live. If you want to kill yourself, go do it. I'm not asking anymore. And he like it's essentially pushes her off. We don't see him do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
She's gonna die anyway, I think. So I think she did it herself. Yeah.
That whole sequence is one of the most tense things that I've ever seen in a show.
Yeah. What's the actor's name who plays Homelander? Tony.
No.
Anthony
Starr.
Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr. Tony Starr. He's so good at being menacing and charming and threatening all at the same time. Like he is like truly like the best Ultraman we will ever have. Like he's so good. He's like
I still want him as Reverse Flash.
That could work, yeah. I love watching him. Like no matter what he's doing, no matter how evil he is, he's just so charismatic. And like I don't want him to win, but like I want him to continue in a way. Like
he's so good.
Seeing him thrive.
He's so good at the dead-eyed smile.
Yes.
Whenever he smiles, you see there's nothing in his eyes.
Yeah.
And that's just something he's perfected. That creates a sense of like real uncomfortability in everyone around him, and the audience is just, you see that man smile, you see that guy's frown, like he's scary when he's not smiling, but when he's smiling you're like almost more uncomfortable because you know there's nothing behind them.
Yeah, he just shows up places all the time. Like he just it's
when
just showing up.
When he's in, what's her name, Victoria Newman?
Nadia, yeah.
When she gets in there and he's just sitting in her bathroom, hey. Just with a tampon. Like what the? You're just flying into places.
So let's talk about Victoria Newman, because she definitely got like a bump up this season of being a more integral character.
Our head popper.
The head popper, yeah. So like I was curious like where the motivations were. She works with Vought and she's working with Edgar directly, but she has something with Homelander. And then we get, and I know we keep going to episode 4, but like the stuff like her turn is like genuinely like surprising.
It surprised me too. We didn't know until this season that she was Stan's adopted daughter, essentially. Yes. We knew that she was working for Vought. We didn't know in what capacity or why. Now we know it's all of this relationship with Stan. She has that really great line with Stan where she says, like, all this time you thought you were protecting me, but I was protecting you. Yeah. And that she recognizes, like, I think she is more aware of how broken Homelander's mental state is right now. than Stan is. I think Stan is very sharp. That was my read up until the last interaction between Stan and Homelander, is that Stan is saying all these things about Homelander, but I don't think he really gets where Homelander's at. But now I'm starting to think that Stan maybe still does and doesn't care.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah. I think he's just
I didn't get that read until the last scene, though. Before that, I thought Stan's just not getting it. He's not getting how bad Homelander is right now. Because like, he knows Homelander's bad, but he doesn't know how much like the Stormfront shit, all this other stuff has been like capitalizing and weighing on him. But now I think Stan just doesn't give a shit.
And but see, I got that from the get-go, because he has this thing with Dakota Bob where he's talking to him. It's like, can I be honest with you? In 5 years, I don't even want to be here. Vought shouldn't be a babysitters club. We shouldn't be American Idol. We should be a pharmaceutical country, like a pharmaceutical company. We shouldn't be babysitting these horrible individuals. Like he's gotten to the point, and he probably was there far earlier than we even knew. He doesn't give a shit anymore. And that's where his power over Homelander comes from, is that Homelander cannot do anything to him because he does not care.
I need to be more specific. I think the whole time he doesn't care about like what's happening there. I think that last scene with Homelander is what makes it clear he doesn't care if Homelander is that far gone, which is more like, I don't think he really gets how bad Homelander is, but I also think that to him it doesn't matter. Homelander is on the brink of like just murdering Stan, and Stan doesn't give a shit. He really doesn't.
Yeah,
he knows that like it's one of those great. It's a great character read on Stan when Homelander comes in very confident, honestly, on the level where like he might just kill Stan in the near future. And he knows Stan knows it now. And he's like, your whole life is coming apart and you're 80 over 60. You're basically reading a John Grisham novel. That's how calm his heartbeat is. He doesn't give a shit. His blood pressure is normal. Like, does not care. And I think that's the difference, is that like, I knew he didn't care about like what was happening with the superhero stuff and all that, but I think he truly doesn't even care if Homelander goes so far off the rails, he kills him. I truly don't think Stan gives a shit.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's more to Victoria though. Like I don't know if I necessarily buy, and it's not necessarily the case that if it's not this, I don't even care. But like, I don't know if I necessarily buy that Victoria isn't working with Stan to take down Vought. Initially. I think maybe the plan has changed because of what Homelander has said to Victoria. But I do wonder, I do wonder if it's like a case of Stan wanted Victoria to take down these soups so that Vought wouldn't have to deal with them anymore.
Sure.
That seems.
I'm just wondering if that's what it is, because I don't necessarily think it's as cut and dry as he's using Victoria to turn public opinion away from the Seven and to these C-listers. I just wonder if there's something more going on there.
Oh, I'm sure. It is definitely about public opinion, but like, again, like Edgar's whole plan, it's like, it's long-term. It's like, we want to get out of the public superhero game. We want to make it like, military industrial complex. Like, we want to go beyond this. So yeah, I think his plans are further, but I think for this season alone, it's about turning that public eye. And Victoria was the number one person to do it. She was going to do a whole broadcast about how shitty Homelander is. And then it got turned.
I like when Homelander does his birthday speech and he's like, "You're up with your base with white males," and he's like, he's got a heart on, and it's like, and you're just like, oh yeah, those are not the base you want to be up with, buddy.
He doesn't want to be a Nazi, but he loves him some white men.
Yeah,
I really like that we get Marvin's ex, her new piece of shit husband who's all Vought devoted is like way into that speech.
So into that speech.
Again, that's Freck. That's another Frick moment where he's like, he seems like a nice guy. He's buying toys. Of course, it's Vought. It's like big corporation. But then you watch him watching Homelander's speech, and he's eating it up. Yeah. And you're like, oh, it's a Freck. It's another Freck.
That speech was wild at the end of that episode. That was like, holy shit! Like, what's gonna happen? But then you get to the next episode, and it's him going on the Carson Coleman show, and he's just speaking truth to power of a vague power that doesn't exist.
Like, because he says all these millionaires who you've never heard of.
At first, it's in his birthday speech. It's like it's the undercurrent, but he doesn't name them, is Vought. But then he's just speaking to like, yeah, there are some people in Vought, but there are people everywhere. And like, that's what you got to rise up against, is like all the people who want to control you in the vagueness of the everything.
To the Facebook people everywhere.
No, for sure. Like, I mean, that's, you know, it's very much paralleling how you grab with conspiracy theories of bullshit right now. But like, it's the, how he spun that, because he was definitely just talking about Vought.
Yeah.
In his initial speech, he just didn't say it. And now he's able to like spin it, and he's like, yeah, it's, you know, like they're everywhere, man.
They're out to get you, all of you, and I'm here to help you.
Yeah,
Ashley writes great speeches.
There's a sense of like, I normally don't like a show that is very surface level, very angry. Like Eric Kripke is very angry at the state of the world, and he's putting it into The Boys, and it works. And the thing that like I'm surprised about my own interest in the show is how how much I like it. And I understand that like I share a lot of the anger that Eric Kripke has when it comes to the state of the world, but I normally don't like watching it quite as I normally don't enjoy seeing this anger as much as I have with The Boys. And I think that's just a testament to how well this show is written.
Yeah, it's a situation where like with a different creative team, these themes that they're trying to pull on you, they would be very surface level. They would be right in your face. Look
how angry this needs to make you.
Yeah. It would just be violence for violence sake. And I don't think that's what The Boys is.
I think it's
like,
go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah. Like, go ahead.
I think it's also like, it's picking up all these like real world parallels really well, but it's also exaggerating them to a point where it's near cartoonish, right? Like it is everything that's happening in our world, in like the way that like the Pepsi ad and all these things, but like the way that these things are amalgamated onto each other is like a cartoonish level of the blatant, like, because you see behind the scenes at Vought how much they don't give a shit, how much it is just posturing and all that kind of stuff. And that makes it kind of palatable, even as it is being satirical of like what we're going through. And it's also that it's never like it drops these things. This all serves an undercurrent of everything is bullshit marketing in this world. Like you are always under the umbrella of everything Vought is trying to shove down your gullet is bullshit. And as long as they are feeding into that, they can trope anything that they are pulling from the parallels of our reality into it, as long as it is serving that greater purpose of everything Vought sells you is bullshit.
It's I don't remember, it was the second episode, but they go to like the LGBT like festival or whatever.
I have a note. It's Vaughtland.
Vaughtland, and they have Vaughtland. LGBT turkeys and
BLM like, churros and woke fries.
That is very much the thing of like, yep, it's time for the month. Let's put up our banner. A month later, take it down.
Oh, and you know, you got a great point of like, because that's like the Maeve place of Vaughtland, because Maeve has become this LGBTQ hero to Vought. Vought is pushing that, and you have this Homelander thing. And so it's a good example of two things that you guys are talking about, which is one, it's the kind of posturing that Vought does, but also there's a scene when the Homelander face character gets exploded by the girl, I forgot her name.
Crimson Countess.
Crimson Countess. And you see how that affects Kimiko, because she's like, I've now done to someone what has been done with me. And that makes the violence not for violence sake. There's a reason why this violence is here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a really good show, guys. I don't know if you know this.
I still can't believe that like we got a show that is ostensibly the same thing as the comic, but they just do everything better in every way and cleaner and like not as offensive. Like there are things in The Boys that are meant to be offensive, but like it's trying to tell you something. It's not just, hey, it's a dick for a dick, which is sometimes with the comic. And you know, sometimes the dick's nice, but like give me some context for the dick. You know what I mean?
Well, give me a tiny guy going into a dick.
Exactly. God, do you think that was CGI? Do you think they built like a weird wall?
I hope they built a wall.
It looked real.
So let's talk about Timothy.
I'm pretty sure, like, I've heard rumblings that they did build the wall for an interior part of that. Yeah.
Sparks, I know this will make you uncomfortable, but let's talk about Timothy.
Yeah.
So the octopus that watches the deep have sex.
Oh, that's so sad.
And then is begging for its life, and it's such a well-written scene because like we're not hearing a little voice come from the octopus from the deep, where you're hearing the deep's narration of it. And that's the hardest scene I've ever had to watch on TV.
It was pretty tough.
I had a really hard time watching that scene.
I had a hard time with that scene. Like once he was getting it, like as he's getting sad with it up in his mouth, and he's begging, and I'm like, oh my god, Jesus.
Yeah. That was really like, and that just like gets to like, the deep is such a manipulatable person because now you see his wife is actively manipulating him. He's like, eat the damn octopus.
Evil Anna Kendrick.
Yeah, and she has the line even when A-Train is like, hey, we should probably, I want to be more, and then the wife is like, side with Homelander, we can't
no, she tells him like exactly what to say. That's the thing is like she is making him see like that was a good scene, like where A-Train is trying to, this is great. I just want to subtext into this like it is great that A-Train like he's doing like the faux bullshit, I'm down with the culture kind of shit. And his brother, who he finally reconnects with, calls him on that, which he hasn't reconnected since season 1, right? We didn't see the brother at all in season 2 because of the blue, because he was taking the V. So now he's back with his brother, and his brother's like, if you really want to be down with the culture, this is the shit that's going on, which is very much a parallel of like police brutality and that kind of thing.
Blue Hawk.
And Blue Hawk. Yeah.
It's the thing where, and it's the thing real quick, this Sparks, it's the thing where he's like, you can't afford to be seen not tough on like soft on crime, but it's not crime that Blue Hawk is being tough on. It's black people, but it's because it's the Republican talking point of, if you're soft on, if you go against if you go against a white person policing black people, it's because you're soft on crime. Right. You can't be seen not being hard on crime. And it's like the fallacy, the Republican fallacy is just
Right. And exactly. And again, like also one of the talking points that she has the deep reiterate in the counterpoint to what A-Train's trying to bring to the table is, don't we want more soups, not less? Yeah. And this is the mentality, and Homelander's like, that's actually correct, the deep. So it's really gross. Just the way that it's coming apart, and it's unfortunate that the deep is regressing, being bullied into this position at this point.
He was on the track, man, and then he married that Christian girl.
and now Homelander does this kind of shit to him, and he's just a full-blown bootlicker to him now.
Yeah. The American train is right there with him now.
The American Idol scene where the deep is like when Starlight is first presented with the fact that the deep is going to come back to the 7, like she has a good moment of like, why would I want the person who mouth raped me? Why would I want the person who assaulted me on this show back on the team? Yeah. And he has this thing where it's like, my points or whatever. And it's a horrible moment in that American Idol Big Brother whatever thing when they have two. I mean, understandably, there's three people of color in that scene.
Supersonic, Silver Kincaid, and I forget the other one, but Silver Kincaid is the one that Starlight wants to bring in, because initially what she tries to do is push Supersonic out.
Yeah.
Because she's like, they want you for it. You need to say no because you don't want to live this life. And she tries to save him from the fate that ultimately he sees in episode 4.
Yeah. But
he's too good a dude.
Silver Kincaid is being seen as a Muslim.
Yeah.
But she's not. She's from London.
Yeah, she's in London.
Well, she's still Muslim. Because that's
I know, but she's seen as
foreign. Yes, right, exactly. She's from London. But because she wears her burqa and has her belief system on display, even though she's one of the best, like has the most saves, all this kind of stuff. Hero. She has true hero quality, as Starlight points out. She will not be considered.
Supports like causes, and she's very active in communities,
which honestly better for her because it's a gift in disguise, right? Silver Kincaid probably not becoming part of the 7 means she gets to be out there actually doing stuff still,
not dying or getting assaulted.
Right, exactly.
But it's such a gross thing to happen that you're like, you two, sorry, this white guy that we fired for sexual assault is coming back though.
It's like the the TV show of it, it's like we're gonna choose between these two people. Who is it? And then it's the Deep.
The Deep.
Like, Jesus Christ! It's like The Bachelor, well done. Like it's so cheesy. I love
the
it.
the Deep's bad Lifetime movie trailer that's in there.
Yeah, Billy Zane.
Yeah. We didn't really get to talk about this development, but like Stan putting Starlight higher in charge, making her co-captain. All like really great dynamics where he's like he's valuing Starlight more than Homelander. He's like, you're the real kind of shit that can make this team glow.
Her points are up.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Homelight.
The Homelander just springing the relationship on her.
Yeah.
So gross. He's a monster. Homelander's a monster that you just love to watch.
And she had to make the calculated decision that this was going to be okay because that wasn't taped live.
Yeah.
So that they had to like get it right. And
she's thinking, she's thinking what Huey said, whatever it takes, right? We have to play the game.
Yeah. And see, that's the whole thing is like, cause they have all this confidence that there's this weapon, and we're now at the end of episode 4. And I'm like, I don't think there is a weapon.
No, at this point,
Soldier Boy might be a weapon.
I think Soldier Boy is the weapon now.
Right.
Yes, but
Soldier Boy is exhibiting a power that he did not have when he went under.
Yeah, but I don't, which seems to take away powers.
Oh, that's a good point, because
that's what I assumed.
Isn't healing.
That's what I assumed they were telling us, is that what that does is take away powers.
Oh, interesting. So like maybe he merged with the weapon or whatever. Now
whether it's temporary or permanent, I think he takes away powers, which is why I think that two things are possible to happen now going forward, which is that Stan or in general Vought, or how it'll be like once Soldier Boy is out there, he's going to take Homelander's spotlight. Because he's the classic true American hero, and Homelander won't be able to compete with those appreciation points. Like they're going to do the whole thing of like how people would treat Captain America if he were real and he came back from World War II, and here he is. He's a war hero. He's a great hero in their eyes, in the eyes of the public. So he'll take on that American mantle, and Homelander's going to dip down because of it. And there's nothing he can do about that as far as like being adored. He has to kowtow to Soldier Boy.
And he's going to be mad.
But the other thing that might happen is that Soldier Boy might be able to possibly temporarily take away Homelander's powers. So who knows how that'll play out, but I definitely think they're going to play that avenue of Soldier Boy getting Homelander's spotlight. And that's going to be the thing. I think that is, like we were discussing earlier in this discussion, like how do you put Homelander a little bit more on the back burner? Having Soldier Boy take his spotlight puts him on the back burner.
I think you're onto something there with the because I didn't think about Soldier Boy's power. I just thought it was a concussive blast, much like anything we've seen before. I didn't catch that potentially the reason why Kimiko isn't healing is because her power's been taken away because of that blast.
Yes.
If that is the case, that also creates an interesting dynamic for MM, who has it out for Soldier Boy, who now will potentially have to team up with him to take out Homelander.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So,
interesting.
Everything y'all just said, I 100% believe. I think that power thing is a new thing that somehow happened with the battle from 30 years ago or whatever.
Well, because he even says, Butcher says, Soldier Boy didn't have that power before. This is new.
Mm-hmm. And what's going to be fun is I think it's going to be something that he's not going to be able to control. So like it's going to happen when they're going to need it when it's not going to happen, and it's going to happen when they least expect it. So that final battle is going to be awesome.
I think even more importantly, like I don't think Soldier Boy is going to work with the boys. Like I think he's going to be his own agent. Like once he's back stateside, he can do whatever he wants. Everybody's going to want him to be Soldier Boy again.
Good point. You know what it'll probably be? That's a good point. He will not be working with the boys, and then he'll meet Homelander and realize, oh no, I do need to take this guy out if I want to.
Well, we do know that Soldier Boy is also an asshole.
Well, see, this is what I was going to say, is that this is less like this is more like getting the T-Rex out to fight the Indominus Rex, right? Like, yeah, that's helpful, but it's not exactly like someone you want to stand right next to.
You need the 7 other Raptors.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is that Soldier Boy could potentially be just like, he's just another superpowered egotistical asshole. He just might be one that can at least counter the weight of Homelander and throw some things off while the boys are trying to figure out what the fuck to do.
Yeah, he might not be on their side, but he can be an arrow they can point towards Homelander.
Right.
Use him.
I think whatever happens next is it's clear that we don't know what's going to happen next, and that's a really great place to be with a show.
Oh, for
Very
sure.
exciting. Yeah.
Jensen looks great, by the way. We haven't talked specifically about it, but Jensen looks great as Soldier Boy.
He does.
I love his performance so far. He's so like the like stereotype worst in that flashback when he's talking to Grace.
You know,
You're
you'd
too
be
pretty
more
to be on this
attractive.
field.
It'd be more attractive if you smiled more.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's like he's got the Captain America swagger, but like if he was an asshole.
We kind of touched a little bit about it, maybe, but like the gun convention that gunpowder is at.
Oh no, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, gunpowder. Let's talk about gunpowder.
I did want to talk about that. Yeah, the oh man, like seeing the kids holding the guns.
Are you holding? Yeah, just this nice gun. Welcome.
that was slightly jarring, given our current climate.
Hey man,
our always climate, honestly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
No, I know for sure. No, I'm not saying like they shouldn't do it. I was just like, oh god, like
this is the kind of thing. It's kind of similar to
I think the thing about it is because like we talked about over exaggerated parody, and unfortunately to me that didn't feel as over exaggerated as I wish it was.
Yeah. Well, it's because at this point we've gotten to the place where they are the people that it is parodying are that. It's just they are just that. They're not. They are over exaggerated parody. So now it's kind of like what they talk about whenever there's a shooting, like the Onion article. Like that's just our life now. It's just how it's always been. So you can't over exaggerate that. To over exaggerate what's already been over exaggerated is to break the reality of the show that you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
That is an American problem, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so it also kind of creates the problem of like this was filmed before the latest 40 mass shootings that have happened.
As many things have been and have had to deal with it. Yeah.
So it's kind of this is a situation that we are constantly always going to be in. And I think maybe 40 years ago, that what we've seen would have been an exaggerated parody.
Yeah. Right.
But because that's just who these people are now. It's not. It feels very, very real. Like gunpowder is saying things that we have heard people in Congress say.
Mm-hmm.
It's also cool because gunpowder is just like a dude who shoots, but like it is cool to see like, oh no, he has like what's it called, like ricochet abilities.
Yeah,
like where you can shoot something to make it bounce off 7 different things, like Cyclops' optic blasts.
He's a good shot, and he's got like all these. He's got his own brand of guns.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got to make money somehow now.
I know. I like that. I think that's fun. He's got his own brand guns.
Butcher kills him with powers.
Yeah, man.
That was pretty wild.
The laser eyes that Butcher has that he can't control. I thought he was gonna do something to Ryan. We haven't talked about Ryan either.
Yeah,
I really liked their bonding. That was a really nice moment. The moment that makes him want to call Huey, and feel and acknowledge that it's peacetime is when he watches Ryan's video of Becca as Legos.
Oh, the stop motion.
Yes, the stop motion video that Ryan makes, which makes him like think differently about everything. And he's like, we do need to pull back. We do need to accept the time that we're in. It does look really nice for what Butcher and Ryan are doing. And then the thing that really screws Billy up is Homelander comes and pays him a visit. We didn't talk about this earlier, but I wanted to. It's Homelander who comes and says, man, don't you just want to like scorch the earth, the two of us, and get it on? Mm-hmm. And he's like, of course. Like they're both just tired of the system holding them back. And he's like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it when you are, Billy. Like, oh God.
They have,
like, because that's him when he's still in that phase before he breaks the speech, before he finds he can get adoration back on his side, when he's just feeling like low and shitty. And he's like, I just want to light the candle. I just want to burn us all. So let's do it, Billy. Let's go out in fire.
That is so good because like Butcher, this is like when Butcher is like under Huey and like things are working, but they're not working the way they used to. And Butcher's like, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Like I hear you. I hate you. But like I get where you're coming from.
Because they want to come from they're coming to the same thing from two different sides. Like Billy doesn't want to be held back. He just wants to kill Homelander. And Homelander doesn't want to be held back. He just wants to burn everything.
He just wants to kill anyone.
Not right. Like once Homelander sees that he's slipping out of public adoration, because he's narcissistic enough where he wants to be beloved like a god.
Yeah.
because that's how he sees himself. But and that's the thing that really sets Billy on the path, right? Even though he pulls away from that because of Ryan's video, but when Huey reveals like, no, everything's been bullshit the whole time, Billy's like, well, great, I want to do the thing Homelander said. I want us to just go at each other and destroy each other.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Merci Jamie. Cutest hamster maybe in any thing ever. Sorry,
straight into the eyeball.
The flying strong hamster.
Yeah. I love superpowered pets or babies. Something that's not a regular human. It's always fun. Burrowed into that dude's head. Thank you, Jamie. A lot of fun.
What do you guys think of Frenchie and Nina's relationship? Because for me, it's probably I'm not saying it's garbage, but it's probably the weakest element of the season for me.
Yeah. It's not bad at all, but it is certainly like we needed that character to progress to another thing.
It just feels like means to an end.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't think it's bad, but also like I don't think they can dedicate more time to it because it would take away from all the other great stuff. So it's an unfortunate. Like she's kind of limited to what she can do, but I think she's good. And like the scene where she's like flirting with Butcher and like Frenchie's right there. Like I like that scene, but like I agree, it is probably the weakest.
I go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I really appreciate how little we've seen of Nina, because I don't think she quite works as well as everything else in the show. To add more of her is to take away from something that is better, and I think everything is better. And one of the things I do really like is kind of how it plays into Frenchie's relationship with Butcher. Like when he's constantly worried when they're in Russia, do you think he gave her Sherry? Like, do you think that's what happened? He's that asshole enough to do it, but it's like, but Butcher did something that arguably is kind of worse by basically shilling out Kimiko to Nina.
Yeah.
And Butcher's like, what? I do something nice, and this is the thing I get. I appreciate how that came about.
It was also kind of weird and shitty that they had to do that because Butcher already like repaid what Sherry owed plus more to get the favor that they were looking for anyway.
Yeah.
I was glad that they brought back Sherry. I thought that was nice for a brief appearance because she was important to Frenchie. We were seeing her a lot in the first season. Like I thought that was a nice like button on the character kind of thing. But ultimately, like some of the Nina stuff in general is just like, okay, I guess, sure.
It's them wanting to flesh out Frenchie a little bit more. But unfortunately, I think you need more to make it matter more. And again, like I don't want to sacrifice anything else.
Yeah, I think that with Nina, but I think they did drive home the fact that it's not about the money. Nina could get the money back if she wanted to. It's not about that. And I do think that that's pretty clear. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily mind that I don't necessarily think it feels a little weird that she gets the money and doesn't decide to back off, you know?
Yeah.
I think Frenchie gets well developed with Kimiko as is. Mm-hmm. So needing this backstory wasn't necessary for me. The one part of value I do see in it is like the parallel of Nina and Butcher.
Yes.
And then whoever he had before. They name it, but I forget it. But like that Frenchie's always an underling to the same kind of personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the speech with Kimiko and Frenchie, like when they decided to leave, like Butcher and Nina and this other guy, like they're all the same. Mm-hmm. They're all sellers. They don't care about us. They think of us as tools. And I know Butcher does care about them. Maybe not Kimiko as much, unfortunately. But that's just his character, which is, he's not perfect, which is great. I
think he's got a prejudice against Kimiko, but he would still. If he was in his right mind, which he's not when he's on V, he would care if something happened to Kimiko.
But does he care because he cares about Kimiko, or does he care because he cares about Frenchie?
Because she's part of the team, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, I think he does. Because I do think that, Butcher's not exactly the bastard with the heart of gold. Like he's not exactly a Han Solo. But he is as close as you probably can get in this universe to being someone who does not give a shit about anything else, but he does like his friends. He does like MM. He does like Frenchie. He does like Huey. And I think his prejudice towards Kimiko has never been challenged. And so he's never been able to show any compassion to Kimiko. And I'm wondering if he wasn't on V, because I think that's messing with his mind. I wonder if he wasn't on V, would he show that compassion now that she's been injured?
I think that, again, going back to our talk earlier, I think this will be part of the arc of him realizing I need to be nicer to her now that I know what it's like. And if she's depowered, now she will be what's the, not frail, what's the word? Fragile, or like she'll be vulnerable in a way she's never been before. So I think he'll need to step up to realize that. And
then you also have like Ryan is also chipping away at Butcher. Like Butcher creates this really tough exterior, and Ryan has gotten to the point where he is able to kind of break down that wall that Butcher has put up over everyone, and it's kind of leaking because of that. It's leaking into everyone else. He's showing more compassion to everyone else because of his relationship with Ryan.
It's gonna be hard for Butcher to repair what he did to Ryan.
It is going to be very difficult.
Yeah,
that's a sentence that's real hard to come back from.
Yeah,
that was pretty brutal. Yeah,
that was rough.
I'm very curious how they're gonna go with it, but the thing is, like, if Butcher does find a way to make it up to Ryan, he can never cross that line again, or like Ryan's lost to him.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious how that's going to play out.
Ryan, if he gets any older, is going to be able to take on Homelander also. So maybe we just wait him out.
That'd be fun. And like the next season is like in like a year or 2 years, he's just a little bit older. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Homelander's still looking for him, but like it was more of a passing thought in the beginning of the season, and now he's not as focused on it. He does say to Billy like he still wants to know where Ryan is, and Billy won't tell him.
But those points are more important. Those approval points,
because he wants the whole world to love him.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's the thing, is that like he gets off on it.
It's what he prefer. Because we brought, like we circled around that idea earlier. Do you think that Homelander's bluffing?
With what?
Like if do you think he's saying it because he's confident that that they won't release the footage if he says it? Not that I'm saying like, oh, he won't do those things where he'll tear down the world, but he will. But that it's not, he's saying it only because he's confident that once he says it, no one will rise against him. Like his end goal is still, I don't want that to happen.
Well, I would say he's not bluffing, but then he kills Supersonic. So I think now there is the facade where he can't destroy the world yet because he has to have the public like him. But I think we are past the point of him bluffing where he will kill anyone he needs to, as long as he can get away with it. But he will kill anyone, I think.
I don't think he's bluffing. I think he's 100%. He's 100% in not his right mind to be like, if you do that, then I have nothing else to live for.
Again, that's not me saying that he wouldn't do the things. I think he will do the things. I'm saying, is he bluffing in the sense that like he truly has full confidence, like it won't go that way, so I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, he's too confident.
Yeah,
he
doesn't
think anyone could do anything to him. I'm not saying he wouldn't do it. I don't think he has the belief system that they'll ever pull that trigger against him. I don't think he thinks that world is real. That's my point, is I think he does care. I think he still does care. I think he cares a lot about the adoration. I think that he truly wants to avoid having to be public enemy number one.
I understand what you're saying. I think I understand what you mean by he's bluffing. I don't agree though. If I understand what you're saying, I don't agree. I think he absolutely 100% does not care if they release that video at this point. Yeah. He would love to be loved, but he says it like, I would love to be loved, but like if not, I'll just destroy everything. And he doesn't I don't think he cares anymore if they release that video at all.
I do think, like season 2, I would say no, but now I think the flip is switched. I think the match is sparked.
I think he still cares. I think he still cares because he has to, because if he didn't, right, then Soldier Boy coming and taking his spotlight won't throw him. So he still has, I think he still cares. I think he still deeply, deeply cares. I think that's why he can't kill Stan either. He still cares. He still wants that respect. He still wants that adoration.
Well, I do. Okay, so then maybe I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, the way you're phrasing it is really weird. I'm gonna be honest.
Maybe I don't understand, because I do think he cares about the adoration. I just don't think he cares if the video is sent out. Because if he doesn't get that adoration, because that's the last thing he has. If he doesn't have that, there's nothing else for him in the world. So I do think he wants to keep that. I just maybe there's something that you're saying that I'm not quite getting. I don't but I think what I'm saying is kind of the same thing. Like he wants that adoration. He needs that adoration. And if that video is released, oh well.
Yeah. It's a weird thing of like he cares but he doesn't care, because like
I think what I'm saying is that I think he's deeply afraid of that video getting released still.
See that? Okay,
I think
that's
he's
what
I
don't
think
agree
he's
with.
that's fine. I think he's deeply afraid of having to do what he would do, because he does know that he'll be lonely and he won't get what he wants anymore. Like, even though he can do all those things, it's not necessarily what he wants to do. So I do think he's still afraid of that video getting released. I think he just makes the threat because he's confident that once he does, they'll buy that he's far gone enough that he would that would happen. And again, like, I believe he will do those things. I just don't think he's okay with it. He doesn't want it. He's very afraid of it still, I think. Even though he'll go through with it. He'll go through with it because he'll have lost everything, and he's correct about that. But I do think he's still afraid of it.
Honestly, I don't think he is.
I think he's afraid of it. I think he's afraid of what happens when he has to do those things and he has to be alone. Because I think he's still completely fragile.
I don't think he would kill Supersonic, the newest member of their Justice League, like on a whim like that, unless he was so already far gone.
Yeah, I think that's the Supersonic thing is the key to, like, he wants to. I think he wants to destroy the world. He just wants to be liked more.
But Supersonic is still done out of an amount of fear, because Supersonic is him finding out, like, they're still making plans and things.
I don't see that as fear. I see that as power. I don't think he's scared of what Supersonic can do. I think he's like, you're fucking with me. No, and I want you to know that you cannot do that to me.
Yeah.
I don't think he's scared of what Supersonic can do. I think he's scared of the fact that people are still making moves against him, specifically Starlight, who has the video and he knows it.
I don't see that as fear.
I am just saying, I think he is afraid of that video getting released, because I think he fears the world where he's hated and where he's alone. I think he fears that.
I see what you're saying. I don't see it, especially the Supersonic being killed. I don't see it as fear. I see it as he's asserting his power. He's showing that you can't mess with him anymore.
Because this is kind of the dynamic. Like, this is also going back to what we were talking about earlier, which is that how do you keep Homelander on the back burner? If he's truly that far gone, then he could just do it. It doesn't matter. He has to still be afraid. He has to still be afraid of going that far, because something has to set him back. Something constantly has to push him back in order for the show to continue with Homelander as an antagonist.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that fear still has to live in him.
I just think I think it's easier for him to be loved. Like, he wants to be loved. Like, again, I think for him, I am with Brandon. Like, it's like a coin flip. Like, if he has to destroy the world, it's just as fine. It's easier to be loved because I don't have to kill everyone. It's so much easier to just be loved.
I just don't think I don't see fear as being in this equation anymore.
I think that Homelander is not well, in the sense of nobody, like, all his love now is artificial, right? All the love for him is always artificial at this point. And he's still desperate to find something that's real, right? That was Elizabeth Shue in the first season. That was Stormfront in the second season. To an extent, Ryan. He wants people to love him, actually love him. And that won't happen if he has to go the full-blown way that he would. And I think he's still desperate for that. That's what I think he's afraid of. I think he's afraid of, like, truly never being able to have that, because he is that broken.
I'd have to ruminate on it, see how the rest of the season goes for me to. I don't necessarily think you're wrong. I just personally, that's just not how I'm reading it.
Yeah. It's more just, I think that has to be there, because that has to be the dynamic that's going to push him backwards again.
Unless they don't go backwards.
Yeah, I don't.
It's, like, he can't kill Stan. He can't bring himself to kill Stan yet. And I think that is an amount of, like, because Stan says exactly the thing that he knows will hurt him. Like, you're not worthy of my respect.
Yeah.
He knows that's more painful than, like, being able to punch or hurt or stab Homelander in any meaningful way.
Here's the thing. He beat Stan. He arguably he did a worse thing than killing him. He ruined his image. That's so much worse. Like the thing with Victoria was the best thing he ever could have done. He killed Stan. He actually killed Stan without killing him. Just
I'd agree, but Stan doesn't seem to feel that way about it.
No,
that's true.
Which is the way he holds
no.
that power over him.
I agree. Like he is an incredibly powerful man, but like that's Homelander's way of winning. Is like, I know I can't kill you, but I will defeat you no matter what it takes. And
I'm really happy. I'm really happy that Stan exists as a character because it creates, we have Butcher and the boys trying to fight Homelander on a physical front, and then we have Stan fighting Homelander on a psychological front. And I think that's a really cool place to keep Homelander and kind of like always on the offensive in two different places, in a physical and a psychological. So I wonder I'm really curious to see what Stan's next move is going to be, because he's like the temporary sabbatical, so he's got another move coming.
My gut tells me, because his daughter just betrayed him, I have a feeling he's gonna go.
He's proud of her though. He's proud of her though. He's like, I don't blame her.
No, absolutely, but like that's still taking him out. But like he still wants to take Homelander out because Homelander is threatening his granddaughter. I got a feeling he's going to the boys.
I'm also not entirely convinced that Stan doesn't have a wiggle room out of this, and I'm not going to say this was part of Stan's plan, but I will say that Stan will jump on the opportunity that Soldier Boy presents.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think jump on it.
Yeah, I think this is a golden opportunity for Homelander, Stan being gone, but I also think just like I said, with Stan being gone, no one's going to be there to cover for him, to help him out when he gets in trouble, to promote him. So like Homelander's on his own kind of, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah. I want to talk about Marvin and his family's history with Soldier Boy that we learned about. I kind of wish that some inkling of this had been in the previous seasons. It does feel like it's just now coming in. I think that there just could have been a little bit more of an idea of that previously, but it's not a deal breaker. But we learned that his family was killed by Soldier Boy, supposedly.
We don't know how.
It seemed like it was like a raid gone wrong. Like they went to the wrong house and he just he killed everyone.
His father clearly had some obsession with him,
Mm-hmm.
Which affected Marvin. And now I really like the scene where he's talking to his ex and he's bringing up the Soldier Boy stuff. And she says, like, you got to go face this shit down. You got to go to Butcher and do this. And we'll be here. Your daughter will be here. It's okay. Like, I can't be with you and I'm sorry for that. But like, this is something you have to do. And recognizing that for Marvin, I'm just like, that's just a nice character change you don't normally get in that kind of dynamic.
It was a nice adult moment between like exes, because like exes don't have to always hate each other. Like they can be friends, like people grow up and they evolve. And it was like a nice scene, like, yeah, like I can't be with you. I'm sorry, but like do what you need to do, bro. I love you. Like
she's gonna have a rude awakening when she finds out that her husband is MAGA.
Yeah.
I really like the Kimiko and Ryan moment when they're playing Connect 4 and they're bonding to each other. I thought that was a really sweet moment where they both don't like their powers.
Yeah.
And Butcher being willing to cross a line with Grace, burn all of her assets, get them killed.
Yeah.
In order to get the information. Like that was a big line cross for Butcher.
Yeah.
That his relationship with Grace is going to be pretty strained after that.
And he even says, I'm disappointed that you didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
Because like to him, it's not a line cross, but to everyone else it is.
Yeah.
He's like, of course I would do this.
They're innocent people. And he's way off on his shit at that point.
That reminds me of the flashback scene. When all the supers are just killing people that are on their side.
Killing Grace's men, yeah.
And Grace is
they
like,
don't know what they're doing.
Our men. And she's just like, whoopsie.
Yeah.
The Justice Society, but incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because that's what they are, right? The Payback was what they're called. The team
Payback and Crimson and like the flying guy.
So if
Crimson Countess, Payback, Gunpowder.
So if that team was, what's so interesting to me is that like that team. I mean, it's the Justice Society. It's the team that was the popular team before the Seven. I wonder what the Vought building looked like when they were the popular team, because now it has a 7 on the side of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had a P on the side of it.
Just in a hotel.
Just a couple of other quick notes. The graffiti when they go to Russia, I thought was really cool. We see a whole bunch of like the Homelander heroes with the done in the graffiti. I thought that was really
like
neat.
Big Brother,
yeah. This was like the one quote I wrote down because it was really good. Is that a video game about the slave trade?
Yes, that's a good one. Because she's just like, I want to rebrand my African roots. And
God.
is that a video game about the slave trade?
And then we didn't really get to talk about her much. And to be fair, like she doesn't have a shit ton in these first 4 episodes, but Maeve she's faking who she seems to the public.
Yeah.
That not letting on that she's training, not letting on that she stopped drinking.
Mm-hmm.
She's getting ready for
she's
one
getting ready
second
to fight. Yeah.
And I love that line too. It's like, even if I can give you just a moment to help, it'll be worth it. Because she knows she can't beat Homelander. But she's like, if I can give you a couple seconds, it'll be worth it. I'm like, man,
she's maybe taking this the most seriously of anybody.
Yeah.
I really love that for her. I hope we get a little bit more action from her this season. Not necessarily action, but like I just want more scenes with her because she's not been prominent in these episodes.
Forgive me, it's been a little while since I've seen the last season, but like, what happened to her girlfriend?
I just don't think
she found out she knew about the flight video and had it, and she saw it, and the fact that Maeve wasn't doing anything about it really upset her, and she left. And that made Maeve step up and want to be part of the fight, but it doesn't seem like that was in time enough to repair the relationship.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Or at least we haven't gotten an indication of that in the year time jump.
I had forgotten. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that in the season that started, I was like, oh wait, how do we leave this guy again?
No, for sure.
Honestly, if they didn't bring Sherry back for that one bench scene, I would have for like, who's Sherry?
I legitimately, when Simon Pegg showed up, I was like, I thought you died.
It's original Huey.
Oh yeah, that was a nice little phone call moment.
Yeah.
Dad, move away from the camera.
Yeah. I just hope that we get a little bit more, because I really like the idea that she's now really playing a part, and that she stopped the drinking and she's like more engaged. She is the one who brings the Temp V to Butcher and gives him the idea for the weapon.
The taco bowl.
Muchas gracias.
I
don't speak Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish.
So
when he's just when the taco bowl being a clear parallel to when Trump did the same thing. It's like, we got the best taco bowls in Trump Tower, and we got the best taco bowls on Vought Tower.
And then the Deep just going at it.
Yeah. It's not shellfish, so he's very excited.
It was a little selfish for him to start before everyone else, though.
Don't like you anymore,
man. Just really, really loving this season. I have full faith the rest of the season is going to be just as good. So excited Soldier Boy is here.
R.I.P. to my friend Miles, Supersonic. Rip. We hardly knew ye.
He was really good, really impactful character. It's a shame we didn't get to see him do any super speed.
We haven't talked too much about Starlight, but her beauty pageant flashback.
Oh yeah,
when she like grabs her fist in the back because
that was a good bookend of the opening of the episode and the end of the episode with the faking with Homelander stuff. Yeah. Continue to shove out the shit about how her mom's really garbage.
Yeah, I love it. All right,
you're right. That was a really good moment.
Anything else? Because I thought
they did a good job with the scene that revealed to Huey that Victoria was bad, where he follows her and Tony down the alley.
Oh, yes.
I thought that was a good way to like tip Huey off to what was going on. Oh, and the willingness to break his own arm so that she won't get suspicious.
Oh, that was
great.
Arm break. We also know how her powers work. She has to see a part of you because he keeps trying to like push her away.
Right.
And when he sees when she sees the hand, she explodes the hand, and then she sees like she only sees like parts of his body that he explodes. So she has to be looking at you in order to explode you.
And we don't know if this wouldn't work on Homelander. Neither does Homelander. Because he says to her, like, go ahead, let's see. Let's see what'll happen. He's very confident, but he doesn't know.
Spicy if she tries it and his head just goes, oh, and he just has a little nosebleed. She's dead. She's so dead.
like a Black Bolt.
Yo, you gotta think like bare minimum he gets a headache.
Oh yeah, I'm saying like nosebleed for sure.
Yeah. That'd be it'll be wild to see if that ever comes into play. How do we feel about her forcing V on her daughter?
Not good.
It's it's obviously like awful to watch, but like she thinks Homelander's gonna try to kill her daughter at any moment. So like it's
understand because Homelander is now of the kind of like, you know, he's not, his master race is soups. Like he wants to protect all the soups. He likes soups.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Thanks
so
for
like
choosing your own kind, he says.
Yeah,
thanks for
exactly.
choosing your own kind. And so like he says that like, so to give Victoria's daughter V is to protect her from Homelander. But it's uncomfortable, man.
You see her spine like morphing, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, the poor girl. Oh, it's a really sad scene. You gotta do what you gotta do to protect your kids, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a dad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that to my kid.
If I had brain exploding powers, I probably wouldn't.
So are we? Is Victoria's daughter like adopted? Because wouldn't a soup, like a biological soup kid, be already a soup?
Well, we don't know that.
We don't know that for sure. Like, not all X-Men who have kids, their kids are automatically mutants.
Well, true, but
like,
I guess the only soup kid that we know of is Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
and he and that was like a shock that he was also a soup.
Yeah. It might be a situation where, like, because Victoria is a superhero, like, she checked early to see if her kid was one or not, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, and we don't see a father, so perhaps she was adopted.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Because they've done, you know, because she was adopted, it wouldn't be surprising if she decided to adopt herself.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I'm good.
Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, great.
This was a
start of
good
the season.
This was a good halfway point, good stopping. I'm glad that we were able to talk on it here where the boys are in kind of like a pretty bad disarray that we don't know what's going to happen with the team. Soldier Boy's now on the board, but we don't really know what that means yet.
Hell yeah.
I have a hard time believing like he's not going to take Homelander's thunder.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think he's going to have like a callousness towards Homelander's behavior that's going to be like too raw and spicy for Homelander to deal with.
We haven't had a like, I don't expect it like a Invincible style fight where it's like massive destruction, but I do think the closest we'll get will be Soldier Boy versus Homelander if that happens. I think that'll be a big fight.
Did we read Herogasm for a book club?
No, we only read the first volume of The Boys when we
you would remember it.
Because I've read Herogasm and I don't understand why I would have done that if it wasn't for a book club, but I've read it.
We did not read it.
We definitely did not.
And so I remember being shocked. Specifically, I remember a scene of all the shocking scenes that happened in Herogasm. I remember being shocked that, oh, you know what? It was a free comic book day issue I picked up. They released it as a free comic book day issue, as like a free issue to promote an episode of The Boys. A little
bit of it then. Hell yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
That's so that's why I've read it, because I was like, oh, I'll read that. So like I read that.
Those poor children who got that comic.
And it was because I remember seeing Homelander and Soldier Boy are lovers. Secret lovers in that issue, and they're like, we don't want to, like, Soldier Boy's like all in on this relationship between him and Homelander, and Homelander's like, no, we can't do this because I'm an American.
Oh my god, that'll be, oh my god, what if that's the route they take, where Soldier Boy falls in love with Homelander?
That'd be wild. I don't know. Like, so that's the thing. He's always looking for more love, right? Homelander's always looking for someone to love him.
No one else will do it. Maybe try a Soldier Boy.
And you could create like, and it creates a because he was they have a closeted relationship in that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's a weird story because like it opens with like, we've got to go do the thing, we got to go save the comet that comes every couple of years, and we got to go, and they just go to a motel and just start boning everyone.
Hell yeah,
it's a wild issue. Don't understand. Like I have vivid memories of reading Herogasm, and I'm like, why? If it wasn't for a book club, why did I do that?
That is incredibly odd that they released it for a free book club, a free comic book day, but they must have known the show's coming out with it. So
yeah. All right. Why don't we get out of here then?
Yeah, let's get out of here. Like I don't know, somebody who dies in the show. I don't know.
Like Supersonic.
Supersonic.
Okay, guys. So this was the first 4 episodes of The Boys.
Episode 1, Payback. Episode 2, The Only Man in the Sky. That was a great title. Episode 3, Barbary Coast, and episode 4, The Glorious 5-Year Plan.
There you go. So that's
5-year plan, you say? Kripke's known for those, my friends.
So that's that, guys. So we'll be back for 4 more episodes of The Boys when it's over. So stay tuned. There's plenty of more Fake Nerds watches. If you want to subscribe to this video and you want to subscribe to this channel, you want to like this video, you check out our other Fake Nerds watch series. Concurrently, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi. 2 episodes of that are out. Miss Marvel will be coming. Stranger Things, the first part, so the first 7 episodes of season 4, that's out. And Star Trek Strange New Worlds. That's a series that I'm doing with Cookie from Just a Little Podcast. Sparks was on the last episode that we recorded. So stay tuned
One more coming soon. Remember, it's raining. You gotta
Umbrella Academy. And Umbrella Academy is coming up. I forgot about that. There's so much. Umbrella Academy. When that drops, we will do a Fake Nerds watch of the entire season. So stay tuned, guys. There's a lot of cool stuff, and so far all these shows are pretty cool.
It's a good time.
Yeah. And there's also other shows you can check out if you have any interest, such as Basement Arcade pause menu. The most recent episode of which was me and Sparks. We talked about Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5.
Yes.
And did you want to say anything, Sparks?
I was just going to say, so we'll be back just real quick. We'll be back for the rest of the season of The Boys sometime after July 8th, which is when the last episode will air.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you. So stay tuned. There's also Fake Nerd Book Club and Animation Station. Of course, our mothership show, the Fake Nerd Podcast. There's all sorts of things going on in the Fake Nerd Podcast at all times. There's tons of news. This is a huge news week. So, guys, is this episode going up before tomorrow? No.
No. This will be probably out a day or two after.
Okay, guys, so what has just happened is we have talked about Netflix Geek Week, we have talked about a Star Wars book, and we have talked about Jurassic World Dominion. And coming up is Lightyear. Guys, we go live every Sunday on the Fake Nerd Podcast, every Sunday night, pretty late. If you're on the Pacific Standard Time, you can check us out if you'd like. Greatly appreciate you guys popping in and just hanging out with us while we do some things. I really appreciate Ryan doing the airplane flight attendant airplane motions.
Yes.
Please buckle your seatbelts. All right, so that's all sorts of cool stuff you can check out from us. Again, like this video and subscribe to this channel. Find us on all the audio platforms you want to see us and you want to hear us in. You can support us financially if you want to check out our Patreon and our TeePublic, and you can check out Emma the cat.
Video only. Sorry, audio listeners.
Well, this show isn't audio. This show
take that.
And you can also check out our website. All those links are down below, but our website, fakenerdpodcast.com, has everything you can find us on. If you want to support us, if you want to find us, if you want to do whatever, you can check out that. FakeNerdGuys@gmail.com, FakeNerdPodcast on all the social medias. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. I also write for Screen Rant, where I've been putting up a bunch of lists for Jurassic World Dominion. I write for Atomic Geekdom, where I just put up an article for Jurassic World, and a newest Infinity Saga piece has gone up where I talk about Anthony, so the ant from Ant-Man, the standout hero from Ant-Man, and I edit for KaijuRamenMedia.com. I may be putting up a Jurassic World Dominion review up there. I am talking to them about maybe not doing it, so we'll see. And
what?
I've never written a movie review before. I don't know if I want to. And that's me. Sparks?
You can find me just really hoping for the best of Herogasm at Sparks Witty on Instagram, Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
We are not prepared. Ryan?
You can find me preparing for Herogasm by buying 12 boxes of condoms and 6 boxes of lube at DJ
spicy.
Tony Snark 616.
Of course, our good friend Ben Magnet, who could not be here. You can find him at BenMagnet27 on all the social medias, and he writes for various websites such as Old School Gamer Magazine and Fusion Gaming. That one? Fusion Gaming?
Yes.
Okay. I forget what. And Go Nintendo. That's the third one he writes for. So yeah, check him out there too. And until next time you see us.
Wait a minute, real quick. What? Just imagine the episode of Herogasm. There's going to be a giant lady, and she's going to get giant, and then she's just going to sit down on a bunch of people.
Like Popclaw?
Yeah.
Remember that?
You remember Popclaw? Yes.
Oh man,
yes!
yeah.
I'm getting ready.
All right. Until next time you see us, guys, stay fake nerds.